it's really hard not to take it personally in some way. I've over the years I've found a way to like manage those thoughts. Is it never is a personal thing, right? There's lots of other things involved, but when you put so much yourself into something, it's hard not for it to sting a little bit when if you are like dropping off in business. But I think, yeah, just gotta roll with it and do the best you can. Try and stay positive and stay focused on what you're trying to do.
Welcome back to another episode of the Heart Media Podcast. Today's guest is Kyle Nicol. He is the head chef at Hazel and Lilac Wine Bar. They are both part of the Mulberry group. This guy was super interesting, very laid back, very easy to get along with. We had a lot of fun with this one, I would say, right, Bill?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Pretty like chill, I would say. We spoke about his dreams, our dreams, and people we find interesting. We asked him about what gets him out of bed and what keeps him inspired, and how he creates, I guess.
Just a very real conversation. I think it was very interesting. Get
Yeah,
a lot
we
out of
spoke
it.
a little bit about the Mulberry Group, their project, and his career and his future plans. And yeah, it was pretty decent conversation, and he's such a lovely guy, and we loved having him on.
100%.
We hope you enjoy it.
Stay tuned.
Like, share, subscribe, don't forget. We're watching ya.
Yeah.
Kyle,
Welcome.
thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here, guys. I have Kyle Nicol here. Nicole?
Nicol. Yeah.
Nicol.
Nicol.
That's a common one though.
So bad.
Nicole.
Yeah.
Used to get Kylie Nicole
Kylie
in,
Nicole.
in school.
Yeah. So many Aussie icons. Kylie.
Right.
And Nicole Kidman.
Double.
Yeah. I love that from you. And is that kind of like what you personify through your cooking? Those kind of Australian icons, female? Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely Aussie icons
Yeah.
in flavour as well. Yeah.
How you doing, man?
Good, bro. Yeah.
What have you been up to?
So busy wrangling Hazel
Yeah.
on Flinders Lane. Just jumped over from Lilac about 6-7 weeks ago. So resetting Hazel and sort of building for the next stage into summer. Hit the ground running and yeah.
Yeah.
Pumping
So you're
along.
from New South Wales originally, yeah?
Originally, yeah.
Why
Yeah.
don't you tell us a little bit about how you grew up, where you grew up,
Yeah, we're keen.
Yeah, yeah.
to
Get
hear
into
about
it.
the berries and...
The berries.
The berries.
Yeah.
Definitely berry connection, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, I grew up in a little town. Well, I had one part of the family in a town called Woolgoolga, which is like just outside of Coffs Harbour, like a little quiet beach town. And then my mum had a farm in Halfway Creek, which is like in between Coffs Harbour and Grafton, sort of like out in the bush, right surrounded by all the blueberry farms. And we had like garlic and some blueberries growing, did a little bit of citrus. We like grew bits and pieces on the farm, and I sort of grew up around that farming sort of bush
Yeah.
lifestyle.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you love it at the time? Sorry.
I suppose like now, looking back, now that I've been living in cities for so long, I probably should have appreciated it more. The peacefulness and the connection to the land. But I miss it for sure. Like I'll have days when it's pretty rough, I'll be like, oh, I wish I was
How
out in the
good would it be to
bush.
slow down? You always wanted to. I think you always want what you don't have.
That's
'Cause
it,
life's
right?
so hectic.
Yeah, yeah.
So are the farms still there? Like, is that house still there, or?
Nah, my mum and stepdad sold that quite a few years ago now. So it's
So you don't go back, don't...
I still have heaps of family back in like Coffs Harbour area, so I'll try and get up there and see them when I can. But yeah, the farm's sort of in other hands now. But
Cool.
So how
Yeah.
did you fall into your career?
as a chef,
Yeah.
I never grew up and had this like romantic story. You know, I always wanted to be a chef. I knew when I was 5 years old, like some people. How real that is, I don't know, but it's probably
That was funny.
a bit played
Bit of
up.
mayo
little
on that
bit.
one.
Yeah, for sure. I think I started out like, well, on the farm. I grew up around amazing produce and by the coast, fishing. Like, always had a connection to like really good produce and like being able to eat good food.
Your parents cook good food?
One of them I won't disclose. My nan is like the real cook of the family. She's
Right.
amazing. Yeah, I suppose I grew up with amazing produce, but then not many places you could get amazing food.
Yeah.
So there was like a contrast of having all of that, and then when I could eat good food, if I'd got away on holidays or travelled, be like, oh wow, that's what good food could be. So sort of like contrasting.
Right, right.
I grew up with all of that amazing produce around, but not much.
The techniques were lacking or something.
Yeah, or like
To bring
depth
them up.
of culture in a regional area, you
Yeah.
could say as well. Like very,
Basics.
yeah, basic sort of working class white people food is what I.
Yeah.
There
grew
wasn't
up
much
with.
multiculturalism where you were from.
Oh, like it kind of was
Yeah.
a lot, but not at the same time.
Right.
Like yeah, originally, like you barely get any like fine dining or like really good restaurant in regional places. I mean, there is, but very few. Like,
Like Coffs Harbour, it's always sort of lacked that. It's had a couple of restaurants over the years that have got a hat here or there and sort of dropped off. I don't know, it just hasn't really grown enough yet to attract the
Maybe you gotta-
chefs back.
Maybe you got to come back.
Yeah, I did,
Trailblazer, make that restaurant.
yeah, I did a little dash there when I got back from London, but yeah, one day in the future, I know the spot that I want as well. It's like right on the jetty.
And the plan is there.
Yeah,
gee,
I could feel that telekinetically.
yeah.
okay. And like, how did you like decide to get your first chef role, or what happened?
So I was trying to make something of being a musician. 'Cause my whole family's all musicians.
Okay.
No way.
So I was trying to have a crack at that, and I was sort of like the most average out of everyone in the family. I wanted to do something creative still, and I love food. And my dad was mates with a guy called Jeff Rolls, who was a chef in the area, a mate of his, and he linked me up to get in the kitchen one day, and just sort of grew from there over the years. Like there was no, I didn't wake up one day and be like, oh, I want to be a chef. It's sort of, I just got
You
in the
started in the
kitchen,
kitchen.
and then like over the years,
Did you get inspired? Was this guy Jeff Rolls an inspiring figure for you? Is that what made you want to become a chef?
no, I think it was more the energy, and a lot of chefs always have that same story, right? The energy and how they felt
That's true.
in the environment sort of inspired them.
Yeah.
I suppose I had that, and then the craft and wanting to improve sort of grew over the years.
Yeah, and then a lot of chefs also do have the story of going to London, which you do as well.
Yep.
So, how long after when did you decide to go to London?
It's pretty much straight out of my apprenticeship. I thought, if this is what my life's work is going to be, I'm going to go to London and see what it's all about. Try and mix it up with the big dogs in London.
How old
Yeah.
were you?
22.
Okay,
Yeah.
but honestly, I have this like curiosity to know like what makes people from here, I don't know when was that exactly, like want to go to London to experience that? Is it like a just like well-known place to go and get that chef grind, or
For sure, like
Yeah.
the history of like world renowned chefs, or like the level of chef that you can get in London is just so high.
yeah,
I think for people in Australia or Canada or the States want to go to London because of the language as well, right?
yeah,
Like it's
True, because there's a lot of high-end chefs all across Europe, but London easy because they speak English.
for sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And there'd be plenty of like really good European chefs which would come to London just to learn
Yeah.
English as well. But like the language thing's definitely part of it. Like
Right.
if I went straight to Paris or something like that, who knows how that.
Yeah, we did actually speak
It's
to
an
someone.
extra layer of complication,
Yeah,
right?
they said it was really challenging because they were in a completely foreign kitchen and it was so hard
the
to
language.
understand. But do you think that if you remained in Australia, you could have gotten to the level that you wanted to? Was that available at the time?
Like not in the same way. Like there's always been amazing restaurants in Australia and like opportunity there, but the pool's a lot smaller, right?
What about now?
It's definitely great. Like
Yeah.
so I was in London like 10 years ago now. So the difference now to what it was say before I left is amazing. Like
Massive.
how many
So-
more
in Australia.
options there are
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Australia.
Yeah. Interesting.
What kind of Melbourne or Australian institutions would you compare to European ones? Or is there no comparison?
Like it's hard to compare two different things for me.
The standards like are different. Like
Completely different. I think a big part that plays into it. I listened to it at a podcast because I'm a podcaster, right? So I have to listen to podcasts. And they were saying that a big difference is the cost of labor in Australia, because in Europe they can afford to have so many staff, even floor staff, to tend to you, and that create that 3 Michelin-star experience. But you couldn't, it just wouldn't be affordable here in Australia. Is that true?
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I was standard week when I was in London would be like 70 hours, and you'd like finish your week, just be able to pay rent and maybe have like 2 beers and a cheap, very bad pub meal at Weatherspace or something.
Right.
And that's like, then you're down back for another 70 hours.
gee,
Where like, yeah, in Australia, chefs are like paid pretty well. Yeah.
even 10 years ago,
Like in comparison to
London.
or
Yeah.
other parts of the world, like chefs in Australia probably have it a lot better than most parts of the world, like from a pay perspective.
What's the actual pay difference like in numbers?
It'd be hard for me to, because I haven't been there for 10 years.
Yeah.
But I think I was on like £21,000 per annum
Which is like
back
40
then,
grand.
and doing like
Man,
minimum 70 hours,
Whoa.
6 doubles back to back.
Whoa.
Yeah, but that was normal then, right?
Mm.
And there was a little bit of that normalized here as well, which has been a really good shift over the like last 5 to 10 years in Australia now. So I think Australia is kind of leading the way a bit in the way of like pay and like work-life balance as well.
how much do a chef get paid in Australia a year?
Depends on, what your role is, but probably at least a quarter or a half more than what is in London still.
Right. I think that's across many industries.
In
We've got employees that are from England and they say, yeah, we came to Australia because we just don't get paid anything in England. Yeah.
So what
Too
did you
tough.
do in London?
Just worked, mate. That's all
Yeah,
I
like
could
how
do.
did you get the job? How did you apply?
Oh, it's pretty. So when I got to Europe, I travelled around.
Fucking worked, mate.
Yeah. That's like I didn't get to do too much traveling, but that's what I went there for. I was like, if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna get in and try and learn as much as I can. So sort of got what I wanted.
Yeah.
Out
What was the
of
restaurant you worked at?
Arbutus,
Yeah.
which was in Soho, like a French bistro, 1-star place, which is closed now. And then I moved around to a couple of other places, but Arbutus was pretty
Main stint.
pivotal.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Pivotal in what way? Give us your insights going into it and then leaving it, what you learned, how it felt, what it was like.
like the precision and the intensity of it was pretty shocking, coming from like pretty regional sort of area and then straight into like 1-star pumping place in Soho in London was like sort of deer in the headlights for a couple of weeks.
Did you love it? Did it inspire you?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just sort of being around that sort of level of professionalism and like ambition and drive. I think from like a craft perspective is what I got the most out of London is like learning my craft, how to cook.
Yeah.
How to cook and how not to treat people or manage is what I learned in London.
Because they gave you the example of how not to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
How'd they
I
make you
learned
feel,
how to
those
cook,
guys?
but not. Yeah.
Yeah. How'd they make you feel, those guys that you were learning under?
Like there's always tough times, but like, yeah, like the culture back then in those kitchens was like sink or swim. Bullying was like normal, almost encouraged in some of those old school venues. Like as far as mentoring, it's like this is how you do it. If you fuck it up, you get bollocked for it. That's it. Like
Yeah.
there's no like guidance back then, but teaches you to be like switched on and responsive, and like in hindsight, I feel like I learned a lot from it. Like it was hard, but like yeah.
But at the time, did you even have the like the thought at the time to be like, this is not how I want to be as a chef? Or were you like, okay, well, these guys are doing it, they're the best, I want to also be like that, and you wanted to emulate that, or no?
No, I think I knew, like, if you're, for me, like, if you're being treated like shit, you're like, well, it's about being a good person at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be a bully or an asshole to be be a good leader, right?
Don't be
And
a prick.
sometimes, like, there's those people everywhere in the world, right? So you just gotta fight the good fight and try and treat people the way you want to be treated.
So true.
And do you think like going to London till this day kind of raise your perceived value as a chef in Australia? Like, or not anymore?
I think when I did it, it probably did. But, like, from what I hear these days, it's like, doesn't carry as much weight anymore.
Which is a good
Depends
thing.
on what you do, you know what I mean? If you're working at like a 3-star restaurant,
yeah.
and you're pretty high up in the ranks,
Yeah.
you must be doing something right?
Yeah.
So
Would carry a bit of weight for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so you're in a hospo group now. You guys have a few restaurants. Do you get to like hire chefs and like
For sure.
what make a good chef in your opinion? Like, how do you know that this is the person?
I think it sounds really, really basic and obvious, but like just love for food.
Passion.
The craft. Passion. Loving cooking and like giving people a good time. That's like should be the base for sure, because you get so many chefs come through that just want to be, the next superstar and just want to like skip their whole craft and just learn things which can look cool, or but they like, if you don't have that love for it, it comes across in your cooking and what you do, right?
Because like they've got to be in the crux of being a chef is you got to be in the kitchen all the time, and you got to love that aspect of it, right? No matter what you're doing.
For sure. Yeah.
And so you've got like you're working at pretty iconic venues. You're part of the Mulberry group. You got Lilac and Hazel. Do you find that because of they're kind of at a higher standard, you are attracting a lot more, I don't know, talented or passionate chefs?
Yeah, it definitely plays into it for sure. Like having somewhat of a reputation, or like some sort of, media face that people can look at and like get an idea of what you are and what you're trying to do, definitely helps attract the people that you want in
That's
your team.
awesome.
Have you ever made bad decisions in hiring chefs, or?
Yeah, there's been a couple over the years, of course. Like
Yeah.
anyone that says they haven't had a bad recruit's probably shitting you for sure. Like you have to make those
Mistakes.
bad decisions to try and, you need to make mistakes to learn, right? But thankfully nothing too dramatic for me. I think I'd like to trust my intuition. Like if you can spend a whole day with someone is sort of a big part of it.
Yeah.
As well, like they need to have the skills and attitude, the passion, but you need to have some sort of connection as well to be able to build good culture and a good team as well.
Awesome.
Do you still like enjoy it, like being that kitchen grind?
Yeah, I'm probably more in love with it now than I ever have been.
Why is that?
That's awesome.
I just think I'm at a point now in my craft and my career that I can have a much bigger impact on my team or people that I work with. I feel like I can give them the information they need a lot faster and a lot more in a more productive way, which can help them as well. Where, say, maybe 5-10 years ago, I would have been not as sort of to the point.
More like thinking about your position in a team than like the whole team, kind of.
Yeah, for sure. I think like the role I'm in now, I'm basically a mentor, right? So
you're not on your feet all day cooking.
Oh, I still am.
You
like
do, still.
I have to do that. I
Yeah.
can't be one of those chefs that sits on the sidelines and is fluffing around. I need to be in there. Like I still get on the grill section and cook, right? And you have to. You should have. I don't know. Kitchens are sort of set up backwards, and I'm trying to reverse them. It's what I've done at Lilac, and I'm in the process of trying to do that at Hazel, with like having your most experienced cooks cooking, so they can teach the less experienced ones, right? What's the point of having your best cook just standing on a pass yelling out numbers all day?
Yeah.
You can teach anyone to do that, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to teach that skill, but like knowledge of actually cooking for 10, 20 years is a lot harder skill.
Makes you the
to
best
like,
at cooking.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I've never heard that perspective before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long did you stay in London?
About 3 years.
Okay, and then moved back to
Coffs Harbour.
to Coffs Harbour again.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's interesting.
Helped a couple of friends open up some venues there, and then got a bit bored, and then came to Melbourne.
So from there, did you get a job or did you just come before you get a job?
I had a mate who was the sous chef at Supernormal at the time. This was about 10 years ago. When we did our apprenticeship together back up north.
In like,
So I moved from Coffs Harbour up to Kingscliff.
yeah,
and was there for a little bit before I went to London.
Yeah.
So I linked up with him there, and then he went to Canada for a bit. I went to London, then he came back to Melbourne.
Got a sous chef in Supernormal.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, I'm bored of Coffs Harbour. Need to
Do something.
get back into something busy again. Came to Melbourne and then started at Supernormal the following week.
Awesome. What was your position there?
I came in as a chef de partie, like a much lower position that I've been in before because I wanted to learn the nuts and bolts of what Andrew does and
So
why
that's
his
Trader
company's.
House.
Yeah, yeah.
And was Andrew cooking in Supernormal at that time?
Yeah, he still gets in and like cooks and gets involved, even
I'd
though
love
he's
to
got
meet
so
this guy,
much
man.
on. Yeah, I came in at a lower position because I wanted to learn the nuts and bolts of his company and the business and like how he's so successful and incredible at
He
what
is,
they
isn't
do. Which I spent 5 years.
You learned from Andrew
Well, working with,
with
in his businesses and with him here and there, but yeah,
Where'd you work up to? Which position?
Sue. Yeah,
Cool.
Okay. How long did you stay with Supernormal?
I was there about 2.5 years.
2.5.
And then went to the Builder's Arms up the road to...
Don't get me starting at Builder's Arms, bro.
This guy brings up the Builder's Arms at least like 3-4 times a week. Always at least once on the podcast.
I love it.
Yeah.
We love it there. Good spot.
Such a
Honestly,
good
let's
pub.
talk
Yeah.
about like this. Shout out, okay? There's passion here.
Sponsor us, Builder's Arms. We love you.
Trader's House.
Free
Brill-
cod row.
Brilliant venues. Okay, it's very interesting conversation. I think a lot of people actually can learn from it, and you worked with them at Supernormal and Builder's Arms. But to keep that consistent quality all across your venue, always like good service, food, it's brilliant. Why do you think like there's such a powerful brand, and what can people learn from them?
It's a big one. Like, I think they like focus on the fundamentals really well. Is what Andrew and Trader House have always done.
The fundamentals.
Like, just good server. Like, not trying to be overly ambitious and just doing the simple things really well, consistently for a long period of time is how they've built to where they are. Yeah.
So I've been to a lot of their venues, and their menus aren't overly complicated. They're just good,
Yeah.
and you have a good time while you're there. The fit out is nice. That's it. It's simple. It's just a good place to be. You leave there satisfied.
Taking down all the like barriers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
nice.
And then
Yeah.
after that, how long did you stay at Builder's Arms?
I was there for about 2.5 years as well.
Yeah.
I was there from the changeover. It was Ricky and Pinky, like a Chinese restaurant, for a short time. I was there to change it back into the pub. I came over to help with that process. There for 2.5 years and sort of built it back up into
Builders.
like the neighborhood pub again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Builders.
Yeah.
Built Builders back. And then after that, I opened a little wine bar called Rascal in Brunswick on
Oh, so
Sydney
you
Road.
opened
Was
that.
that your project?
I came on at the start, but there was like, another chef owner and like multiple other partners. But I
And
was
it's closed
sort of-
now, yeah?
yeah.
How long did you had it for?
I think we're about 2 years, no, 2 and a bit. So we opened 3 months before COVID.
Oh, shit. That's a bad
We're in
luck.
that spot,
Worst one.
yeah. But COVID sort of helped us find sort of where it needed to go as well.
Okay.
So it was sort of like a blessing in some ways.
Yeah.
And we did pretty well with the take homes, and I think we were definitely one of the first ones to go live with a take home menu when all of that stuff
Started.
Happened.
went down. I think it was the next day. Yeah, so it was announced, and then the following day we were like, boom, take home pack,
Yeah, nice.
live
was it?
photos, everything.
Did
Yeah,
it go well?
yeah, like the take homes went really well for us, and we survived through. Had a lot of success out the other side of COVID, and then like the partnership group all sort of wanted to do different things, so we just
Split.
kind of called it there.
Yeah.
Business was sold. I took like a couple of weeks to see some family,
Yeah.
and then linked up with the Mulberry group and just went.
Cool. How'd
Straight
you get
in.
there into the Mulberry group?
A friend of mine, of friends, Ollie Edwards and Brianna Smith, who are the head chefs at Bar Miranda. They were running Hazel at the time, and Nathan was looking for a chef for like the next thing, which was Lilac.
Mhm.
So I linked up there. Clicked really well with Nathan straight away, and then jumped into the Hazel kitchen for about 6 months, just sort of helping out and doing planning for Lilac and getting that together.
Sick.
Yeah.
As a head chef?
No, it's just sort of floating in support and just sort of feeling out because like Bree and Ollie were still there at the time. They were the head chefs there.
And then when
Yeah.
you going, but for the plan for Lilac wasn't for you to be the head chef.
At Lilac?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
That
the
was
plan.
always the plan when I came on with the company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. How'd you feel? That was going to be your first head chef position?
No, I've done plenty of head chef roles prior. So I was the head chef at Rascal.
Oh, Rascal. Yeah.
I've been doing it a while.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can like 18 years or something. I've been a
Wow.
chef. I've had quite a few different
Yeah.
kinds of roles. But Lilac was sort of first head chef role with like a bit of a hype and like a platform behind it, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
More so than previous roles.
People kind of knew you at that point.
Yeah, it sort of
Part of the
built.
Mulberry group.
Yeah, a few
Bit of a thing.
things sort of aligned at the
Yeah.
same time, and
Does that put more pressure on like you that, you know, there's more eyes watching or, you know, like
not. I sort of. I try not to pay too much attention to it. I think you just gotta focus on what you do, right, and your craft, and like I'm confident in what I do and that I can solve any problems that sort of come my way. So yeah, like the pressure's always there, and probably now getting more and more than ever. But like
Do you feel it?
some days, yeah,
Yeah.
and then some days not really. Like it's the ebbs and flows of business as well.
do you feel the flow of like, you know, we hear a lot of like businesses kind of struggling these days and, you know, revenues and cost of living and all that kind of stuff, which like a lot of businesses are kind of struggling at this stage, you know, ups and downs and inconsistency. When your venues goes through these like ups and downs, like do you take it personally, or, you know, you feel like we need to do better, or do you just like embrace the market and
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's really hard not to take it personally in some way. Over the years I've found a way to like manage those thoughts. Is it never is a personal thing, right? There's lots of other things involved, but when you put so much yourself into something, it's hard not for it to sting a little bit if you are like dropping off in business. But I think, yeah, just gotta roll with it and do the best you can. Try and stay positive and stay focused on what you're trying to do. I don't know if I answered that question.
no, you
it's
did.
right.
Yeah, your answer was yes, but you kind of have to, you know, work with it.
You're figuring it out.
Yeah, figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We feel it all the time.
Mm.
We're the two-person part of the business.
Yep.
And sometimes you just feel like, wow, we're fucking it up. But if you get stuck, bogged down in that, then you never look towards the future. So you can never fix whatever issue or like adapt to whatever is happening at the time.
That's it.
So
right?
you need to try to get better and better. And I think the longer and longer that we do it, the thicker the skin is that we build.
For sure. It's
Yeah.
gonna keep going, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you stop, that's
How do
it's
you
gonna
That's the
keep
worst
pushing.
part.
Yeah, how do you manage, like, to stay positive and like have this like work-life balance? Because like, especially restaurant chefs, they like work long hours and it's a bit of a different lifestyle. How do you maintain your work-life balance and mental health? And
Yeah, that's like something which I think the industry is getting better at generally. Like a lot of chefs these days get 4-day weeks and then 3 days off, just to sort of make sure they're not doing those huge sort of hours. Myself, I'm like a workaholic, right? That's my that's my thing. I feel like I have to put the work in now to set up for the future. And I'm always just grinding, looking at the next thing. If I'm not doing that, I feel like I'm just stagnating.
Mm.
Sort of like a shark if it stops swimming.
It dies.
Yeah, that's how where I'm at. But I feel like the industry is like getting a lot better at like making sure people are checking in, and like the openness to having conversations about mental health, how you're feeling, and like being okay to talk about when you're having a tough time.
do you do that?
Yeah, for sure. Like I have people around me which I can speak to, and I always offer myself to my team as well, and encourage like communication. If you're having a bad day, just let's
Tell me.
chat, and like we'll figure it out. It's
When
gonna be
you're
alright.
So you're a workaholic. So sometimes you do put in a lot of hours.
Mm.
I would just assume. By
Yeah.
that. And do you notice an effect that has on the way that you're feeling and the way that you interact with others? Does it manifest itself in other ways? Because I know it does for me, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it definitely does. I think I've been working at that level for so many years now that I've found a way to sort of manage that as well.
Mm.
Like making sure the communication's clear, and try not to being tired have a negative impact. Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, how to explain it, but yeah, managing sort of my energy in a better way, and trying to make sure I'm still trying
Present
to be
outside of work too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's important.
Do you, like you said, you love to work all the time, and from our research we learned that you got injured once.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe you can tell us a little bit about that, and how did you manage through it all, and considering that you love to work. And
Yeah, that was a really definitely one of the toughest points I've had in my life. So I think we'd been open about 4 months at Lilac, and we were like pumping, like so busy. Come around the corner in the kitchen one day, like I can remember I was really tired that day as well. Came around the corner and my knee like dislocated. I hit the brick wall and exploded my kneecap.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was pretty full on. I was like,
What happened? You just tripped or something?
nah, so like I twisted and my knee dislocated. Then it went
Just out of
in.
nowhere.
Yeah, then it
Wow.
went into the wall and just popped. Like it's definitely some sort of fatigue thing or just bad luck as well.
Crazy.
did everything, I guess.
Yeah.
Just fatigue. Yeah.
How long were you out for?
Like 3.5 months.
Damn.
Probably should have been longer, but like,
Couldn't stand.
Man's got to work.
yeah, like that period I did like all the things that I couldn't do when I was out of the kitchen, which is also a blessing because it's pretty hard to have those moments where you can zoom out from what you do day to day to work on other things.
What were those things that you wanted to do?
Like some development programs, like costing stuff,
Strategy.
like more strategy.
Still work stuff.
Yeah,
Still,
yeah,
you
yeah.
got
I
it,
was
man.
thinking you're talking about some like
Meditation.
yeah,
I got
some
into
like
yoga.
wellness
No,
practices or something.
Nah,
It's like costing and
just
recipes.
just
and-
more work, more work.
Efficiency, yeah.
But, well, at that point, I felt like, it sort of hit this pretty high point with the open of Lilac and going so well, and then I had that injury. I felt like something was being like ripped away from me, so I wanted to like still contribute to that process as much as I could. There's definitely some hard times being stuck on the couch, and as soon as I could, I was on crutches back at work making charcuterie on the bar and hanging out and trying to support the team.
Oh, you're making
which did-
charcuterie in your hospital bed. True.
Don't know how we go with food safety. but-
Man, why did you mention that? Jesus.
Oh,
That's crazy.
So
though.
it was tough, huh?
Yeah. What did that do for your mental?
it was really challenging. Like there was some really dark days for sure. It's been a long way to recover from that as well.
Still, like, till this day, you still have...
Yeah, I'm pretty sweet now, but every now and then it'll be a pretty, like it'll get like swollen and sore every now and then.
So you have to be careful with how much you work and stand, and you have to.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm sort of at a good point now, but that really made me kind of wake up to myself a bit. Like I'm in my like mid-30s now. I can't run around for 15 hours a day, doubles after doubles anymore.
Yeah.
Because I was, and my body was like, nah, mate.
Stop.
Yeah. Nah,
But it was like,
yeah.
probably not.
Yeah, not anymore, mate.
Yeah.
It's a thing, man. Like, we put so much effort and like work so hard, and we're so blind, we don't see it. But the minute you get sick or something bad happens for you, you just realize, like, fuck, man, I need to slow down. Like, it's a good thing sometimes, in a way.
To zoom out, yeah.
Like, to stop a little bit and just slow it down, and
Yeah, I feel like from my, not just personally, but my career, I feel like I had a lot of growth in that time as well. Like I could zoom out and sort of really think about what I wanted to do with food next, and like,
reflect.
yeah, reflect, see, like, yeah, be able to, you never have a moment to step back and actually have a look at things if you're so like locked in on what you're doing.
Do you do
So-
it now? Like, do you just decide, fuck it, I'm taking a week off to reflect?
I'm not in a spot where I can right now, but as
Yeah.
soon as my sous chef's back from holidays,
Yeah.
we'll be like, just have that week, reset, for sure. Yeah.
So you said you kind of discovered what you wanted to do with food next. What was that?
I wanted to like, so after Lilac, with Lilac, I wanted to basically do, like, make people feel like they're at my nan's house for lunch on a Sunday or something was the whole idea. Like trying to strip things back and just focus on the flavor, take away all the chefy bullshit, and like really focus on the things that mattered and like made you feel comforted and warm. That's what dialed me in on that. And then when I had that time out, I was like, all right, how do we get to the next stage of that and like keep zoning in on that? Like, yeah, prior to Lilac, the word nostalgia wasn't really used around food too much.
Yeah.
Now I feel like it's in every single article,
Yeah.
and that's something that I'm trying to bring, like, flavors of my childhood, but like
Awesome.
make it
What are those flavors of your childhood?
very very basic, mate. like,
Yeah.
like
He's a Vegemite.
yeah, like savory mince on toast is something that's like super nostalgic to me, which I've had on at Lilac. I'll probably bring it on at Hazel as well at some point.
Right.
Like all the mains we do at Lilac and Hazel as well are almost like meat and two veg, right? But just with a bit of
Flair.
like that French bistro sort of base, like be a nicely cooked piece of meat on the fire, and then like a puree and like a nicely cooked vegetable and a sauce. That's it, right?
Easy.
Yeah,
Yum.
meat and two veg is what a
Mm.
lot of households, working class households, grow up with in Australia.
Awesome.
So, bit of that, like, yeah, lots of those sort of things that all come from like a meal I've had or like
Awesome.
something that reminds
It's cool. You
me.
kind of get to tell a story through the food.
Yeah, it's definitely story driven. Like,
How do you stay, like, how do you keep on challenging yourself and skills, and how do you get inspired to create?
I think like people and talking, and like I went to a friend's Christmas a couple of years ago, and his partner's mum did a ambrosia salad, which is like a wacky salad which usually has like sour cream, mayonnaise, fruit, marshmallows in it,
Okay.
but it's like super retro, and like I hadn't seen one around or in restaurants for years. So that inspired putting it on the menu to try it out in like a different sort of way, but
Yeah.
like inspired by that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like food and cooking's all same like all creative stuff,
I
right?
was about to say,
It's
this sounds like a
inspired by
creative
something,
process.
right?
Yeah.
It's you hear chefs getting around like, you know, making out like they're the first one to ever do something, and it's just magically appeared in their brain as bullshit. Like it's everything's
coming.
inspired from something, right?
Yeah.
And if you like think about it, you can always like find that moment. I think in my creative process, it's about trying to find that flavor or smell or experience. That's usually what ends up turning into a dish.
Yeah. So you didn't set aside like research specific time. You just kind of are always on the hunt through
Yeah.
life experience.
Do you take
For sure.
notes?
I'm very intuitive. Notes with yeah, I've got like I could show you the notes in my phone. If something pops up in my head, I'll
Yeah.
just write it down.
Yeah.
I've always got like hundreds and hundreds of dishes that
Yeah.
I haven't got to trying yet, but I'd like to try them one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very intuitive though, the way I cook and the way I work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like one of those chefs that sets aside a week to do like menu testing, tries a recipe a million different ways. Like I'll just cook and then fix or
See how
tweak
it
things
goes.
as I go and
Yeah,
let
yeah.
things develop naturally.
Right.
Like as long as you feel passionate and connected to it, then it's pretty hard to like end up with a product that isn't good.
Right.
Like I feel, yeah, like if you're just going from a recipe book or something which works, or you know, like how do I say it? Like it needs to come from internally or a place of
You have
passion.
to refine
for-
it in your own imagination and
Yeah.
taste, I guess, and style.
Beautiful. So you're now in kind of more of a mentor leadership kind of role. And I've heard you mention it actually a lot of times, so I can tell that you're passionate about it. What's some of the most rewarding things about leading a team and teaching people?
I think like just seeing growth in people that, you know, you've mentored or you've believed in them, and seeing them like put the work in and make it happen. Like good example is my sous chef who came on from the start at Lilac's up for Young Chef of the Year this year. I've had previous apprentices move on to venues, and they've helped like in picking up hats. Um, my apprentice that just signed off now at Lilac is like incredible. I'm sure he'll be like one of the best chefs in the country in like 10 years.
Awesome.
But that sort of gets me out of bed, like seeing that process happen, like the growth and me being able to pass on anything I can and help them get there.
That's beautiful. What values do you kind of align yourself with most as a mentor or a teacher?
What values?
Yeah, like what would as a teacher, what's your brand pillars? Asked this question last week. But what are your brand pillars as a teacher? You know what I mean?
I think being nurturing, right? And everyone takes on learning in a different way. Like it sounds very corporatized, the hands-on learners, all that sort of stuff. I think it's like you can't just have a template for it, right? It's about how much of yourself you want to put into someone and trying to pull on levers that you can see to help them get to the next stage.
So it's about understanding them.
Yeah, like a connection, right?
Yeah.
Just a genuine connection to your team and who you have. And if you know what makes them click, then you can give them the tools to get where they need to go.
And you mentioned that, you knew what you didn't want to do from your experience in London. How was that going?
Yeah, good.
Yeah?
Like, yeah. Like, who, yeah.
Do you do it sometimes and you're like, I mean, maybe not as intense, but sometimes you probably, I find it myself sometimes, I do the things that I hated my ex-boss to do,
Yeah.
but with a lot more awareness. Does it happen with you? Like,
I don't think so.
yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
We'll have to speak to the Lilac Wine Bar team.
Yeah, my team's pretty, like, really happy, and like I haven't hired one chef since we opened Lilac. It's the same team.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
All we've done is brought on an apprentice who worked as a kitchen hand for 6 months prior. She just came on as an apprentice, and it's been the whole kitchen team's been the same since we opened.
What is Lilac? Tell us about Lilac.
Lilac's like a wine bar in the back streets, Cremorne, so just off of Swan Street behind Richmond. So wine bar in a warehouse, and then it's like French bistro food given like the wood fire treatment essentially. So like very classic food, but like hitting it with fire, loads of snacks.
How many seats?
We got like 110 with outside as well, so
okay.
it's quite big. We can fit some space in there.
Wow. And how long has it been running for?
Coming up to 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's epic to have the same team for 2 years.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Hazel just got a hat
Got a hat last year.
last year.
Yeah.
Coming into it, do you feel any pressure to kind of maintain that? Because you're kind of head chefing that, yeah?
Yeah. Not so much, mate. Like, I don't need to feel validated by awards and that sort of stuff. My validation comes from how my team feels, and if I feel like they're growing and getting where they need to go. Like, I just focus on the craft, focus on what I do, producing good food, and be confident in that. If they think that's worthy of a hat or not, that's up to them. It's about like
Rewards will come.
yeah, you put in the work and it should, right? But at the end of the day,
outside of your control.
yeah, like the end of the day, I think there's too much weight put on that as well. Like some chefs, like as you would have seen Ben speaking about in media recently, Ben Shuri and his book, and like a lot of chefs ruin their lives trying to chase like one newspaper article, right?
Accolades.
Yes, it's crazy. Like, I think like they can validate some part of you and they can be good for business in some ways, but like you need something more than that to drive you every day. You can't put all your weight on,
So
an
your thoughts is
award,
more
right?
just,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
build it, do what you love, and if it comes, it comes, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. That's it.
Yeah,
I
and
like that.
if you want to put the work in, it will come, right?
Mm.
If you stay focused and if that's your passion, it will come. But like this, it takes time as well, right? And a lot of people want to skip out big parts, pivotal parts of their career, and just go like, I'm a chef de partie here, and then go to a head chef role in another job, and it's like that gap you've got to make up, right?
Yeah.
It's your life's work, like,
For sure.
well, for me it is. It's my life's work, and I've known that for a few years now, and it's I don't know if I'd be able to do anything else.
Yeah.
What's like your ultimate dream goal in your career?
For my career, that's a hard one. Yeah, I think after I've sort of impacted and helped enough young chefs and people that I can, one day I'd like to sit in the country with a big smokehouse and just be making charcuterie and playing my acoustic guitar on the rocking chair.
Oh, man. That sounds
That's
hectic.
deep. That was deep.
That sounds
I like that.
hectic.
I like that a lot. Smokehouse for smoking your own meats.
Yeah.
Nice. You actually brought charcuterie a fair bit. You're like into it.
Yeah, that's sort of like something I've been doing for a long time, since London.
Yeah.
And we make all the charcuterie in-house at Lilac and Hazel. Lilac, we've never purchased any charcuterie from anywhere. It's always made in-house.
You're talking about like meats.
Yeah,
Sausages,
salami,
salamis,
sausages,
all that
bresaola,
kind of stuff.
all of that stuff.
You make it all.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
we
I
have
do that
since
every
day
year too.
one. Yeah,
Italian as fuck.
Shout out.
yeah,
Nonna.
love it. Yeah,
Shout
yeah.
out my nonna. Yeah.
Charcuterie salami season in Melbourne's a beautiful time, isn't
It
it?
is.
So,
Good.
are you playing guitar now, or
Oh, like every now and then I'll pick it up when
so
I'm
you have a
sitting on the
guitar?
couch.
You've learned it. You kind of know
His
your
whole
way.
family's musicians.
I know, but like he said, he wanted to be a musician, and then it didn't work. But we didn't talk about what happened next. That's what my question is now.
Yeah. Like I've still got that connection to music, but it's like in the back seat. Probably need to get it in the front a little bit
it's been
more.
going pretty
but,
well
you
for you
know.
so far, having it in the back seat. But if you want to bring it, if you want to bring it back, no worries. More of
Yeah.
like a passion thing for you, right?
Yeah,
And your
for
whole
sure.
family's musicians. What do they do?
Yeah. My brother's got like a music teaching school down in Hobart. My stepdad's like an old school metal guy.
Cool.
He's played in heaps of bands, and my other two brothers played in some metal bands as well, mostly like rock or metal. And then my nephew is in a band called The Nameless, which is a metal band as well,
Damn, it's
touring at
definitely
the
in the
moment.
genes.
All metal bands, right? Yeah.
Sick. You?
Yeah.
Metal?
Same. Yeah.
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 Do you play
That's
metal at Lilac or?
Not when the customers are around. But as soon as they're out the door, there's usually a couple
That's a
of
good concept.
circle pits in the dining room.
That's a good concept. Fine dining. Hard music.
Fine dining metal, yeah.
Fancy?
I really love the dream like you have. It's actually pretty powerful. And I put you on the spot and you came with it, so maybe that's what your heart.
Shall we flip it? Billy, what's your dream?
Yeah.
Cheeky. Look, my dream is to travel the world and meet as many interesting people as I can and make a living out of it.
Sounds awesome.
Mm.
It's a journey.
It's not that specific,
Yeah.
is it? Yours was so specific. Time and
Well,
place. Everything is
because
so
I
good.
guess, we have different careers and we have different perspectives, So, I'm a storyteller and I love to tell stories, and
Yeah.
I think some of my best times and transformational phases are when I travel. So, I guess,
Mm.
I don't know, maybe that will change, but that's for now.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
What about you, bro?
We did this in the office recently, I think, this question. What did I say? I said, my dream is to just be happy, and whatever it means for me in that moment is what it means to me. So even more vague than his answer. Few scenarios. I've always wanted to have a fashion label. That would be sick.
Yep.
And like a beautiful house in a rainforest, and some kids and a dog, and
Yep.
marry my girlfriend. That seems really nice, and have my family be with me. I love them so much.
Salami
Keep
days.
making salamis, keep making sauce with my family.
Yeah.
Teach it to like my kids. Be like support my mother. That's
Now,
it.
that sounds beautiful, I gotta say.
Try
I
my
reckon
best.
you're gonna get there, buddy.
Me and you. Fantasy question.
Go
Should we ask him?
fantasy, yeah.
You go. You haven't
I'm
asked it in a
actually
while.
really interested to hear your fantasy.
I reckon he's got a
answer.
good one.
So, if time and
Where are we going here?
focus is-
It's because of the title. Should we just stop calling it the fantasy question? It's the hypothetical question.
Oh, yep.
Okay.
it's a
Fantasy question.
I love the reaction. If time and place went a thing, no rules, chef, music,
No
actors, whoever you want, a person that you would like to collaborate with, who would it be? Silence. Drum rolls.
That's a hard one, man.
You could have more than one. We'll accept more than one.
Probably like cooker service with Robuchon. Old school chef.
Classic. Very good.
Do I have like all these make believe skills I can make up
Yeah, you
to
can do
make
anything.
the story work?
Anything.
Probably like play guitar in AC/DC with Bon Scott singing.
Respect. Respect. I knew there was going to be a musician one. I knew it.
AC/DC singer, maybe.
Well, I reckon that's maybe
Cook a service with AC/DC playing in the main room.
with Robuchon.
With Robuchon. Ultimate.
That's
That
pretty
sounds
good.
hectic.
What's your favorite restaurant in Melbourne?
Favorite restaurant in Melbourne? I've got a few, and I've done interviews before, and like I mentioned places that my friends own, and then I get shit for it. Like, oh, you're just trying
Nah,
to.
but if they're good, if they're your favorite ones,
Dude,
then
come
go
on,
for it.
This is a raw conversation. You can say whatever you want. You can even say Lilac. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Obviously, I believe in what I do. I have to, and I really do believe in what I'm doing. But yeah. Restaurant. Like it changes
You can do
regularly
any-
as
That's
well.
you
right?
know what the thing is. You know what it's weird. It's hard to pick one favorite restaurant. Maybe you can give us like 2 or 3.
Yeah, for me, it's about the people in the venues, right?
Yeah.
I think of like restaurants as they're just like a vessel, right?
Yeah.
You can transplant what's special about that into another 4 walls, design it, put what you want, but it's the humans in it that give you the feeling, right? Yeah, I think some friends of mine own Poodle and Rocco's up on Gertrude Street.
Cool.
They
Yeah.
got like
Been
some
meaning to
really
go.
amazing teams in there, and I really love what they do. That's probably
Up there.
two of.
Yeah.
Like Builders is like one of the great pubs, right?
Okay, I have to agree.
Put it up there.
Have to agree.
Who else? What else? There's so many, right? Then like institutions like Jim's Greek, Francois.
You love your institutions. Okay. What about the?
I think longevity is something that people forget about, right? You can have hype. Anyone can have hype for like a year or two. It's the ones that go for like
I
25
don't know if you
years.
should bring it.
That's
What?
where you want to work.
What were you gonna say? What were you
No,
gonna
we
say?
shouldn't, bro. Let's stay
Off camera.
positive.
Off camera.
Let's stay positive.
Um,
But
Something I don't know
what about your favorite? What about your favorite burger?
favorite burger?
Yeah. Do you love burgers?
Yeah,
Just one.
You look like-
the Builder's Arms.
Oh, it's fucking awesome.
can't
Good
say
burger.
It's the best. No, he's right. It's the
so
best.
simple, so good,
It's the best.
very good. Just drop it. Builder's Arms. That's your answer.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Cool.
It's the best.
Yours, Builders. You gonna say it?
Absolutely.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Damn.
No doubt.
Respect you for that.
Yeah.
So consistent, this guy.
It's very like
Or the Cutler Bar, the Cutler Burger.
I didn't
That's
have
pretty
that.
similar.
Yeah.
Another one at Andrew's venues. But
I feel like those venues, they're very similar in like, you know, dishes. Like you go to the Marion and you go to Builder's Arms. They're very similar. Like you have the fish in the beurre blanc. You know, it's the same shape.
directed
you
by
know,
the
this
same chef.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yep.
I love that though. Like, you know, different vibes.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing at the Mulberry Group, the kind of direction that it's heading in?
Yeah, so the big sort of thing for the Mulberry Group is the farm, the Common Ground project. It's in Freshwater Creek, just outside of Torquay, like in between Torquay and Geelong. It's a few things. It's a regenerative farm, so we're trying to like regenerate the land there, which was sort of super compacted from like animal farming previously. So we're trying to loosen up the soil, give it some life to then give good produce to the local area and to our restaurants as well. And then like a huge part of the farm is the work we do around supporting refugees. So that we have programs set up through there with refugees that come into the local area. They get paid to work, they learn some skills, they can sort of integrate into the community, and the Mulberry Group pays them to do that.
So I'm sorry, I'm just gonna have to rewind a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's a farm
Yep,
near Torquay,
yep.
and you're growing this produce and to outsource to the Mulberry Group, which is obviously the owner of that farm. And then in that farm, you get the refugee that works in there. Is that right? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, so we take profits from the restaurants to employ people from disadvantaged situations.
Okay.
We pay them to work
In
in the cafe or on the farm.
okay.
So there's a cafe on the farm as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So supporting people from those backgrounds and some from the local community down there as well.
Awesome. What's your role
Yeah.
there?
I'm not heavily involved with the farm. It's more so trying to get the restaurants in better positions to give more donations to the farm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then working with the farmer down there to get produce from them is probably my biggest involvement there.
Oh,
Just
okay.
trying to
Yeah.
support the cause and help get more donations to have
yeah.
a positive impact.
Awesome.
Are you at a stage where you're getting all your produce from there, or are you getting there?
We're at about up to probably about 40 to 50%
That's pretty
some
good.
weeks.
That's decent.
So we're like, it's building,
Mm.
and then over summer will be more and more. So the farm is building, but the goal is to eventually get to a point where it's everything's from the farm
100%.
would be ideal. So
Yeah.
the more we can buy from the farm, the more we can support people that need the help, right?
Mm.
It's a good
So it's
concept.
sort of like,
Yeah,
it's a
pretty
really good
interesting.
so
concept.
like money's going into the farm to pay to create more veg or more produce to come back to the restaurant, so we can then support
More people
more
working there.
people. More people working there, and it.
And is the goal to eventually get it to where it can support more than just the Mulberry Group, and then you can employ more people that way, or is it just strictly going to be for the? For the
We're
group?
currently selling some of the produce to Natura as well, who sell to other restaurants, which is formerly Northside Vegetables, which is like a block
I've
that
heard
way.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's-
they buy a
is
little
it
bit from the
each-
farm as well, which
Yeah.
also goes back into the same
Awesome.
causes. Yeah.
That's so fantastic.
What kind of produce do you like growing there?
The root vegetables that we're growing at the moment are so good, like carrots, radishes, turnips, beetroots.
Yum.
So much
Beetroot.
flavour.
Beetroot.
That's where his eyes
Love
light up. He
beetroot.
loves
Yeah, you like
beetroot.
beetroots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, we actually spoke to the my boys about it. They do like everything. They go 100% from the farm into the restaurant. So you're gonna have to. So will you just have to adapt all the menus in all the venues to be completely seasonal and just run with what you're producing at the farm?
Yeah, that's where like 100% it needs to go that way, but we're like leaning it more and more in that direction.
You're getting there.
Where eventually
Takes time.
that will
Yeah.
dictate.
Big step.
Yeah, like that is the goal, but to make it realistic, there's
Yeah, yeah.
there's
It takes a while to get
there's
there, of
time to
course,
get
yeah.
to that stage, right?
Of course.
Yeah, but
Oh, fantastic.
yeah, we're getting there.
That's
like
awesome to be
at
part of that.
Hazel now, every diner that comes in, every single person that comes into Hazel gets a little turnip from the farm
Cool.
with a bit of almond butter as like a little snack at the start, just so we can talk about the farm and what we're doing down there.
Oh, so you share
Fantastic.
it with your
Yeah,
customers.
every single guest that comes in
all the venues
gets that. Just Hazel at this point, but
Yeah.
it is. The plan is to get it across
All
of them.
all
Yeah.
of them in some way. How we apply it in some is going to be different to the other.
How
But
fantastic! What an interesting, like, even thinking about it from what we do, which is like a marketing and branding perspective, to integrate that into all the venues and
Powerful.
tell that story. It's actually really fantastic.
powerful.
Yeah,
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 Awesome.
beautiful. I love to hear that. How do you feel being a part of that?
yeah, it's so rewarding. Like I've done a couple of pop-ups and stuff down at the farm as well, and been a bit involved down there. A couple of working days. It's really nice to be involved in something that has like a pretty big substantial impact on people's lives, more than just an incredible night out or a dinner. Like you can be doing a bit
Something
more.
bigger than
Something
a restaurant.
outside
Yeah.
of the normal sort of things that most restaurants can do.
Yeah. Oh, awesome! It's fantastic. Wrap it.
Wrap it.
Let's wrap it.
Unless you want to add anything.
Unless you wanted to ask us any questions, we're ready to go.
Yeah, who do you guys want to chat to? Who's like if you got to choose a chef?
Oh, that we wanted
Right now.
wanted to
Yeah.
podcast with.
Yeah,
Dead
Good
or alive?
question.
Dead or alive?
Yeah,
Or
either.
Alive.
either.
Alive. Honestly, I would say Anthony Bourdain because I feel like he's just not a chef. He's like an influential
Mm.
and see that dream that I shared with you about traveling. I kind of feel like he would have so much to offer.
Live that
So,
life.
yeah, not from his like chef side, more than his like experience and travel side. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's a very interesting person.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I don't know. Are we going to an Australian chef? Australian chef? Any chef? You said
any
Anthony Bourdain.
person, yeah.
I really got into Chef's Table like a couple of years ago, and there's that one episode with what's his name, Grant Atchis, I think is his name.
Grant Cats, yeah.
He just seems like he's got the most crazy story. His
Right?
story is so wild. I don't think it would be so cool to chat to him about it, and his view on food and everything, and like what he thinks about
Obsession.
things and how he changes his menus so quickly, and like I don't know, it just seems like he would have a very interesting take on a lot of the questions that we ask on here.
Yeah.
For sure. So yeah, maybe him.
Losing taste, getting it back.
And then getting it back.
You can't get more.
It's so crazy as a
Crazy,
chef
right?
as well.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Be like you guys
Rip off.
losing your voice and you can't.
yeah. Billy losing his hands.
Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for having me.
That was
It
brilliant.
was such a good chat.
It went so quick.
Yeah. It
How
was
long
so,
has it been going?
so chill.
Yeah. So quick.
Yeah, it flew
Thanks,
by.
Kyle.
Thank
Oh,
you so
thanks
much
for having me.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you.
It's wrapped.
Sweet.
Thanks,
Thank you.
King.
You're a
Love
G.
you, mate.
Absolute legend.